Oh, baby, we back. Don't worry. All right, let me pull up the chats and we'll talk. Sorry, I mean obviously for obvious reasons I didn't I wasn't able to chitty chat with y'all, but yeah. Um, the Rene Koshri, thank you for the subs, homies. Very much appreciated. If I missed any, I apologize. Bring back movie streams, am I right? We're all doing a bit of academia there. Beer garden. Oh, LARP for life. Thank you for the sub, buddy. Oh, and kick, folks. I'm sorry. Again, notifications aren't on. I apologize. But anyway, with all that said, how do you stay sane? I think we kept it pretty peaceful. I mean, Pandart, like, so here's, I don't know, a misconception. I don't know how it got to this part. I've been talking about this issue for fucking weeks. Whether you take my word for it or not, like I've been like reading about it pretty intensely since the summer, and had mild interest in it for a few years. But like, this isn't my first exposure to this. I didn't pick up a Finkelstein book and suddenly, I didn't suddenly pick up a Finkelstein book and decide a position. Like a lot of my positions were pretty solidified before I got to it. A lot of the information I had was there, already sourced from other places before I got to the Finkelstein book. So really, it's just a matter of I'm not dying on the Finkelstein hill as far as like him as a primary source or anything like that. I defended the factual accuracy of the dude. What Method of Madness? Why do I want to read that specifically? Because of the primary, like the last several weeks where my focus has been, started off like in a lot of history, and then like reading about like the government now and Israel and all that stuff, and then I started really digging into like the operations, the big ones, and that was a period of like 2005 with like the redeployment from within Gaza to the border and the politics around that, and then just going forward through like Protective Edge and all that. That was the period I was really focusing on, and the Method of Madness is a distillation of his deeper thoughts from other books around that. So I started with Method of Madness and did Gaza, Inquest into Martyrdom. I mean, regime change. Like a political assassination is illegal by international law. Like you can kill enemy combatants. You can kill people that are like government figures that are directly involved in the, in harming your troops and all that jazz. But you can't just kill heads of state. Oh, so to go further into that one, Nick Damos, because you're talking about the section where we're talking about like Hamas didn't sign on to, like, or Israel not abiding by an agreement Hamas didn't sign on to. So The contention there was that, and I don't think I did a good job articulating it because it I felt like my brain was melting, and it's not an insult against forethought. Like it was just that whole back and forth kind of scrambled me. Was just that Israel approves it the way they want with their 14 stipulations. The Palestinian Authority buys into it as is. And the United States basically says, and I need to go back and read that Jimmy Carter passage because I think it's spelled out there. It's kind of like when we went back and we looked at the page in this book when I saw what he was saying. It was like, oh, okay, now I like is contextualized, makes sense. So I want to go back and see that Jimmy Carter book again, but I think the point of it was like Israel was the hindrance to peace, and the U.S. like didn't agree to their terms. They allowed it to go through. Like they said, you have signed on to the thing that you signed on to with those other provisions, but we are going to enforce the original provisions. And then they move forward, like in the oversight process, like they move forward with the mediation and all that, then everything else that happens with the stalling and whatnot. But at the end of the day, they still go forward with the U.S. as the intermediary saying, you can put all this in you want, but we're not doing this. So tacitly, Israel is agreeing to it by not protesting that or by not stopping the process explicitly. So they can, that's what I meant by like the whole signing a contract and then adding things in after. It's like, well, the judge is saying, okay, but where in a court of law, I would just say, no, this is invalid. In this case, the U.S. was giving more deference to Israel than they would have ever given to Palestine. Because Palestine said, we're going to come back and we're going to take all of Jerusalem and this, that, and the other. The U.S. would have said, no, stop, you're being a hindrance to peace, right? They didn't do that for Israel. So I think that's a more distilled thought. All right. What was the rest of your point? Sorry. Also, not mentioning Egypt when talking about the blockade is suspect at best and intentionally misleading at worst, considering the point he was making. Forethought clearly went too far in his criticism, but some parts are absolutely fair. Like I said, it's fine if like you go into it and you start reading, you're like, I don't know about that. It seems important, but I feel like you need to. I feel like you really need to read the book to really make that strong criticism of this is totally important and it's misleading, and he's cutting out things to change, to make Israel look bad. Talking to one of my old Marine buddies. Well, it is a criticism of the U.S., but as far as Israel goes, it's that they get to act with that impunity because of the U.S., and that's, again, something that he expands upon in the book. Let's torture ourselves for a second. Feel free to keep asking questions. I do use Obsidian. I haven't installed it on this profile for the computer, though. We're back to Trump politics. Nice. Oh, there's an easier way to torture ourselves. We use that search function. We still live on YouTube? We are. All right. Let's see. What we got going on here? Oh, I will say, if you guys want to sub, I'm working on monetization on the Kick stream. So if you guys did want to sub, please do it on Kick. That would be awesome. One, I guess I think I still only get a 50-50 split from Twitch, so better deal sub wise over there. But then also, yeah, I gotta get 20 in like 30 days to get the monetization, and you can't gift them. So don't waste your money on gifting subs, as much as I appreciate it. Looking for Mind Maps app. Any good ones for that? I do not know. I've heard Obsidian has like that kind of like mapping capability. Oh shit, Wolfgang. Thank you, buddy. Hosting with 21 viewers. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Do you think that the people of Gaza intended to vote away their democracy when Hamas won? And if not, do you think the world has moral authority for regime change in those types of cases? No, but again, like the conflict was obviously deeper than the way that Finkelstein writes it in that book. Like that's just a, this is happening, this happened, and here's the fallout. Which is the more important thing is that after that happened, there was an attempt. And here's things that follow. Just kind of setting the stage, right? But the events leading up to that stage setting aren't pertinent to the thesis of the book. Ooh, Princess XD's got something spicy for us to read. But that said, I don't think they have a moral authority for regime change. Again, it was a democratic election. Like it's democratic election. Just like anytime we took out someone in a socialist country, either through fomenting a coup or whether it was through influencing an election, like it's an undemocratic practice. And the issue is that time and time again we did it in times when we shouldn't have. And I'm a huge fucking CIA shill. I love the intelligence community. I love the CIA, but like anything you love, you shouldn't be so blinded by that love that you are unable to criticize. And there was a lot of that shit we shouldn't do. So you have the blockade going on before the election. The blockade tightened after the election. The blockade clamped the fuck down in 2007 after the coup. I mean, that government didn't really have a chance. Here's the other thing. As soon as they got elected, the quartet, which is Russia, EU, US, and I can't remember what the other one is. Hold on, so I can properly quote this. What countries are in the quartet? It's the United Nations. That's it. So it's the UN, EU, US, Russia, right? So the quartet comes in and says, okay, cool. Congrats on your election. You will do, Hamas will do this, this, and this. And every amount of aid funding that we give your country will be evaluated on your adherence to those things. And Hamas said, fuck that. And the things weren't totally unreasonable. But what is unreasonable is, again, a democratically elected government and their behavior being beholden to the international community for aid. It's one of those things. It's like, maybe the right thing to do is acquiesce for the sake of our people, but you are hindering their right to self-determination, which is an internationally protected right. So it's it's a more complex situation than what than what gets hand waved. Like, well, Hamas was elected, Hamas is bad, therefore X, Y, and Z. You are honestly so stupid, it is amazing. I left you a huge comment on the video with Destiny. You are welcome to start fact-checking yourself. You sound like a 5-year-old trying to make an argument with like 10% of the information. Amazing how stupid one can be. You know what's amazing, Princess, before I even finish your comment, is that, again, everyone I engage with, including Forethought, when these things are brought up, I am engaging with more information than they're providing. So when we're discussing like the history of Hamas, the very recent history, and talking about how it has played into current events, and it's just like, oh, so you're saying this happened? Oh, so you're saying that? One, I'm getting mischaracterized, because you start saying, you are saying they were so peaceful and loving and ready to go. And it's like, no. And then I have to call out all the fucking bad things they did. But then I am still properly contextualizing every statement I make. So please, I hope that in the rest of your 2 messages that I'm about to read, that you actually provide something substantive, some more facts that I'm missing. Because again, as I'm engaging, no one, there are people saying that I'm lying. There are people saying that I'm not speaking factually, and yet no one is providing that fucking information. So please provide it. You sound like a 5-year-old trying to make an argument with like 10% of the information. Amazing how stupid one could be. I never debated a person, but I bet I can take you on while half asleep. Read the first sentence in Hamas's charter and tell me, if you're a president of a country, would you open your border with them? My God, your arguments. I left you notes with timestamps. Your statements are wrong. I get brain headache. And this is the video with Destiny. Is this the new one or is it the old one?
The trans athlete is going to do a
Israel Roundtable.
Atera redefines
blah, blah, blah. Where are the comments? Oh, you know what's really annoying? The comments like that was like is Googling like crazy desperately to find something that supports his claims. First of all, I was providing evidence throughout that entire time in our chat. But 2, yeah, I came in there and I told Steven beforehand, like, hey, because I was trying to plan a debate, but I was like, he's like, well, let me prep for this. I was like, well, let's just have a conversation if you're free. Like, no debate. Let's just talk about some things. So it wasn't supposed to be a debate, and I it was a debate, but yeah. Sorry I didn't have every fucking thing lined up, and sorry there were other people talking, so it couldn't be an immediate, hold on, let me get that for you, da-da-da, here you go. Do you not remember me like calling back to it and not letting the conversation run away? If I wasn't like there to support things, if I wasn't confident in them, why would it have been like, all right, hold on, come back, recall, like there's this thing, I provided the information, let's go through it. Is your name the same, Princess? Oh, it's Amirami. Amir. Well, how fucking far down is this? Oh, and just so you guys know, 28 minutes, and then we're gonna chat with someone. That's gonna be the end of the stream. Just dog, did Forethought tweet at me? Oh, you were watching the earlier thing. Okay.